Yeah, we would like for you to use the microphone so that the folks at home can hear you.
I'll try not to be nervous. Sorry, I'm not used to public speaking. I teach 3 to 5 year olds, so
We're very similar.
Act like you're talking
a little more
to
intimidating. So I work in Wilsonville. I own Building Blocks Early Learning Center, and my story is very long. So I wrote it up for you guys, and it's probably, hopefully you guys will still read it. But it does start out at the very beginning when I was 21, and I was a single mom. I was on welfare. I was on food stamps. I did HUD housing. I came from Oregon. I was in Oregon State at the time. I was pregnant with my son, James, and did what I needed to do, and I started childcare in my home while I was pregnant. I went from that to lots of different experiences. Me and my husband got married. Life got better. We went in the military. I did 9 years in the military as a stay-at-home, in-home childcare. I got Governor's Award while I was there for my in-home childcare. I had started going to school, went to early childhood at Pierce College in Washington. Got out of there, came home, went to Warrior Pacific College, finished my master's or my bachelor's in human development, another early childhood degree. Later, I went on and got my master's degree at George Fox and then on to PSU and another early childhood. The reason I'm telling you this is because throughout all of this, I was doing in-home childcare. I thought I had to overcome poverty. I was the first person to graduate and go to college in my family, so I thought I overcame poverty. Did well, and then my husband died 10 years ago. When my husband died, I had started my own program at that time, which I had at 16 children is the max you can do in-home. So to answer your questions, Representative Anderson, you can only do 10 children registered care. You can do 12 if you're certified family care. You can do up to 16 if you have a degree or some kind of training. I went to school for 21 hours some nights at nighttime while I was doing in-home childcare with 4 sons that I was raising from the time they were babies. Long story short, when I came home and I built my school Building Blocks, I started it at in Wilsonville and tried to do an expansion, hit the city up and said I need a conditional use permit. Never was granted that because it was in-home childcare. Laws are changing now. You guys are changing laws to make that possible for people, but it wasn't during my day. So when my husband died, I had to make a decision. I can't retire on this income by myself. So I got a lease. This will answer your questions, Representative Anderson. So I went from 16 children in home to a lease with 2 buildings. I had 2 classes with 20 children, 4 teachers. I ended running it with 70 children capacity, and that's where we're at now. During COVID, I went from 120 children registered, 70 at a time, down to 20, with a lease of $8,000. Stable grouping. I built my program on $3,000 Craigslist and Goodwill. Put myself through school, still owe on all of that. I mean, putting myself through school is expensive. Long story short, I had to add another building when stable grouping happened because I could only serve 40 children. I was not going to turn my families away. So I bought the lady next door puddle jumpers who went out during COVID, which most schools did. Is that my time?
Nope.
Okay. So I bought that program and started another program.
That's your turn, but
Opened
take
another
another-
3
take a
more
few
classes with babies. Did not get the grant for the expansion. I still did it. I put every dime I had into the expansion. I opened a baby program, did not get the last grant, so now I am in debt. I'm in debt. I've never had debt until COVID. I love and I support this bill 100%, but what I'm concerned about is us getting lost in the numbers. Representative Anderson, this is the reason why I started out with just a small group of children. I grew, I got educated, I did everything I was supposed to do, and now I have debt that I never had before. I'm 59 years old. I can't do this alone. I need support, so that's why I'm here. I do support this bill. I hope it passes, 100% behind it, but you have to prioritize those of us that aren't just with 16 children in our home anymore. I can't afford to do that anymore. So anyways, that's where it's at. And you've all got this online, but I've also printed it if any of you want it. It's a long story, but.
Great.
I can get it.
Yeah,
Okay.
great. And I do need to have you restate your name for the record into the microphone.
Gina K. Hieb Reidlinger. I got married a year ago, and so
Yeah.
Yes,
this is
great.
my son.
And
Thank
now
you,
we have
Chair.
her.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Vice Chairs. I know my mom could probably, there's a lot of history there that she just skimmed over because it's been quite the journey. One thing that I know that my mom really didn't touch on was the discouragement that we felt because come COVID, we did everything. Our governor asked us, and the president was asking at the time, everybody stay open, keep people employed. And we got the emergency certification to stay open and provide for a lot of doctors, actually. And so they had to go to work. And we stayed open. We kept providing. I know that my mom's gone into debt to provide that service. And I've gone and started my own business or whatnot, but it's primarily what I see is my mom has done everything the state's been asking of her, and I just worry she's going to get skipped over again. And the reason we had to get that second facility was because of the regulations that we could only have 10 children per door. So we got more doors, which cost more money. And we had to double our square footage so that we could stay open to meet the governor's requests. And we stayed open, and we're continuing. And now we don't have a child care desert in Wilsonville, largely because of my mom. We provide infant care, and we've gone out of our way to provide infant care because our families need it. And that's, there's child care in Wilsonville, and it's because of my mom. And for her to get skipped over, and it's like, and then the last one, our program is, I don't always use all the words, but we are more inclusive than anywhere else that we know. But when we were inclusive before it was cool, we served everybody.
We were.
Yeah, despite their differences, we treat everybody with respect. That is our one rule, and we respect each other, we respect ourselves, and we respect our environment around us. That's one rule, respect. And we had 13 languages spoken in our school at one time. And it was a challenge at sometimes, but it was incredibly unique and awesome to be able to have that kind of diversity there. So we've done everything the state has asked in my mom's program, and we just feel like we've been forgotten about at times. So, yeah. So, yeah.
50 kids, big exodus that just happened to us.
Yeah. And then so I think we're pretty much done, but we feel a disconnect with working with the public school system because we want education to be available to everybody. But there is some disconnect between what's happening in childcare and the public school system, and so there's other issues, but we do support this bill and hope that it passes. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I don't know, is this our first mother-son duo? I love it. It's great. Thank you so much for being here, Mom.